It's heads down for everyone in St Muras National School in Buncrana, County Donegal. Everybody in 5th and 6th year is working hard designing questionnaires to ask older people what life was like when they were young and what it was like living on or near the border. They're making storyboards too, so that they can make digital stories about what they've learned. Soon they'll be hearing from 3 special guests invited to the school. Everyone helps out in the work.
Just draw all the faces with thumbs up.
The computers are out too. They're a great help when making up storyboards. And some people have already got experience in using software to draw.
It's good, it's like your own movie, like you move it in a wee bit and then you can play it.
And it's fun too.
It's stick figure animator.
But recording people's stories has been going on for a long time, as Miss Dunn, the principal, explains to the class.
Ireland at that time. And there were a lot of wonderful stories. Every townland and every parish were great stories. And there's a big fear that those stories would be lost because they were folklore. Do you know what folklore means?
No. It means stories told by the people.
Told by people. They weren't written down as such. So they decided that they were going to have there was something very, very big going to happen. And every single child in 5th and 6th class around the country was given a copybook. There were no computers then, it was all handwritten, okay? And every child in the country was involved in that in the Republic of Ireland, okay? So, and people who had been going to this school and up to Gorton, Fawn and Carray up in Burt, every single school around at that time. And that's what they had to do. So people there would be in 5th and 6th, that would have been your job. And the stories you had to gather were stories like maybe about something historical that was in your area. So if you were going to school in Carray up in Burt, you might have been writing about the Green Navalia because that was in your area. Or you might have been gathering riddles. Or you might have been writing something about what happens on a farm, about how a house was thatched or how they dug turf. And it was all beautifully handwritten, and then they were all sent off to Dublin. And to this day, they're there. But now a lot of them are up on things called Fiche, where you can look at the stories and so on. And I have some stories which shows the handwriting of the people at that time. Remember the boys and girls who are probably, well, they might be a little bit older than you, because children tended to start school later than you would, and maybe would have stayed at national school longer, because mostly people didn't go to secondary school then unless they had a lot of money.
To get ready for their school visitors, 5th and 6th year have been using their questionnaires on older family, friends, neighbours, granddads and grannies, and reporting their stories back to the class.
Marianne is my granny. She was 5 when she started school. She was born in 1942 in November.
She was born on the 25th of the 6th, 1940. She went to Bocken National Culdaff. She had to carry water and get turf when she came home. She liked hopscotch, singing and dancing. She liked school, and the punishment she would get would be slapped, and she didn't have any electricity and she didn't have any heating in her school.
In her school they had an open fire.
The punishments for it when you were being bowled at school were the cane, the stick, maybe a bamboo, a ruler, a biro and a belt strap.
She got a TV when she was 8 or 9 and she liked horse riding and reading.
She didn't have a car.
She had to walk to school. She had no shoes except her Sunday school shoes. Her main meal was spuds, onions or eggs.
Her favourite sweets were toffees, bubblegum, gobstoppers and chocolate mint.
Well, life was certainly not easy for grannies and granddads when they were young and at school. The 3 visitors, Isabel, Robert and Anne, arrive at the school. They bring photographs and old books, memories of their younger lives.
That was an old one of this, actually. That was back in, I think it was 57. Since Patrick's Day, 57, there's a pilgrim.
Before long, everyone gets the chance to use their questionnaires to get information from the visitors.
When were you born?
I was born on the 27th September 37.
Where did you grow up?
In this village town, Buncrana, outside, 2 miles outside a townland called Minigori.
I grew up in Scotland. I was born in and reared in Scotland, in a place called Clydebank, where the Singer sewing machine factory, did ever you see the Singer sewing machines? And that's where I was born and brought up. Karen, that I got for Christmas one year, right? What's the date on it?
1946.
Christmas 1946. Now that's what I got for Christmas that year. That's all I got. Well, I was at school now in Scotland. But we didn't have a cane, we had a strap. And it had thongs on the end of it, about 6 thongs. And even if you spoke in class, you had to hold out your hand and you got whacked with this strap. And that was just even for talking. And I went to so many different schools because we were blitzed in the war, and I went to so many different schools. Went to about 5 or 6 different schools, not like you where you come to the one school and then you go on another school. But maybe Isabel could tell you now about Malin now.
Well, in Malin school we got a cane. It was a cane and hit you in the hand, or if you did anything wrong you were put into a corner. And there were 2 classrooms in the school, and we went to barefoot to school. And I started school when I was 8 years of age, and I had to cross a big river, and my father carried us on his back after a lot of water in the river. And went through fields to school. We didn't go round the road.
But you children are very fortunate now that you have a bus to step into and take you home at the door. And I hadn't that when I was a boy. I had to walk it all the way.
Did you or anyone you know smuggle?
Well, during the war years.
During the war years.
Was smuggled both ways.
Both ways.
War years, because they had a surplus, maybe of tea and dairy, Northern Ireland, and we had scarce here, so we went in and smuggled tea out, smuggled butter in.
Butter and eggs.
Country butter and eggs.
Butter and eggs and.
But the customs were very much on the go, so if you're caught, it was all taken off you and maybe fined.
If you were the buses and cars, anything at all, like this is right into the 70s, that you had a book. If you were driving a car, you had a book. And every time you went in past Bridgend or any other customs, you had to get out of your car, go into the customs and get the book stamped, and then go on into Derry, do your business and went back out again. You had to do the same thing again. You had to go back in, stop again at the customs, go back in, get your book stamped, and then on home. And the same with buses. They had to have their book stamped every time.
That book was exide and entry and exide were stamped on the book.
Yeah,
and then after
when you used to go to the dances on a Saturday night, it used to be dances in the Embassy Ballroom. It was on the Strand in Derry, and we used to go to dances there on a Saturday night, and the dances finished at 12 o'clock, but the last Swilly bus left for Buncrana at 11. So you just had to leave and come out and get the Swilly bus home. There was nothing else for you. There was no other kind of transport. You just had to come out and get the bus home.
How has the border changed now from when you were young?
A lot. Has changed a lot. You can go up and down across the border now and you don't have to worry what's been smuggled or what hasn't been smuggled. And times have moved on a lot since my time that I can remember.
My grandson, who was here at this school, he was still getting out at 2 o'clock at that time. Now he was born now in 1987, and he was still getting out at 2 o'clock. So this was even about 1992, 93 then. And we come down and collected him, and it was the day that Wellworth's in Northside had opened. So my husband and myself decided that when we lifted David, we would go into Northside and see what like it was. And we collected him here, went up and on to Bridgend, through Bridgend, and my husband was driving, slowed, going down through the checkpoint, and you had to stop until you were told, you know, you could go on. And young David was in the back seat, school bag and all, and the first thing that happened was that one of the soldiers had must have had his finger, but they had these things on the road to stop the cars, these spike things, no, they were bollard things. And this soldier anyway, he must have touched the thing, because before we knew what it was, one of them just came up at David's feet in the back. And in the car, it was a Ford, and we couldn't go anywhere, we just had to sit there. And then David, my husband David, he got out, of course, wasn't too pleased, and the car had to be taken anyway to Fort George, and him as well. And David and I, we got a lift down with Rosaline Hegarty's son, back down home again.
Yes.
And then David eventually got home from Fort George, but the car went to Desmond and Derry to be fixed. David always said it came back a better car than what it went. But that's the kind of things that happened, and I mean that's as late even as 1992.
Big round of applause.
Time for photographs. Check that they're okay. And say goodbye to the guests. So, did everybody enjoy the day? And more importantly, what did we all learn?
The thing I liked today was about smuggling.
The thing I liked the best today was the book Mrs. Berber was in.
The thing I liked best today was everything.
The thing I liked most about today was about smuggling the stuff past the customs.
The thing I liked today was about school when they got hit by the cane.
I liked when they had to face the wall for 2 hours.
The border separates Northern Ireland, which has 6 counties, and the Republic of Ireland, which has 26 counties.
The border nearest me is between Bridgend and Carsequin. I know when I cross the border when my phone signal changes and the road signs change.
Action.
The counties across the border are Londonderry, Antrim, Down, Fermanagh and Tyrone.
The countries in the Republic of Ireland that touch the border are Donegal, Monaghan, Cavan, Louth and Leitrim.
Some people used to crawl across the border at the dead of night, so the guards wouldn't see them.
Ways to smuggle. They smuggle butter and sugar. How they smuggled was in a bike frame and in a cow's body and in their underpants.
The thing I liked today was everything. I liked everything there.